a little bit more, needs a little bit more taper, it looked like. Also, the posing, not so bad. It was more so just kind of opening up a little bit. So here comes Juan Manuel Gochez, based out of Orlando, Florida.
Oh, look at that.
And I would assume that he'd like to compete locally, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm seeing here is, to me, it looks a little bit flat from the front. Back looks good.
Wow, back looks
really good.
incredible so far. Probably some of the best detail you'll see.
Yep, which is interesting because from the front I feel like he's a little bit
dry,
a little bit flat.
Yeah.
Like he needs to pump that chest up or something.
Yeah. It's definitely, especially for the back, super dry. Which is weird because usually, especially for men, is usually the opposite. Is if you're dry from the front, you're going to hold water in the back.
Yep.
Now here he is, folks, a local star, Sharjo Grant. Yeah.
actually flow well. So
Yeah.
you got to give yourself time to work through those poses, make sure you can really hit them.
Your poses change too as you get leaner.
That's
You know what I mean? Your poses in your off season don't look the same as they do when you're in competition shape.
Absolutely. Yep. You should be posing all the time, working on mobility, all of that stuff.
What is that? Glenn Ross, always be closing. Always be posing.
Always be posing.
Yeah,
like
ABP.
That.
Always be posing.
I like it.
Yeah.
Use that.
Clip that one off, Scotty.
wait, gotta make a note.
Yeah, clip that one off, Scotty. Yeah. So here we go. Sean, it looks like we are setting here up for our initial comparisons.
Yes. This is a good lineup.
This is a really good lineup, yeah. It's going to be very exciting in here.
Let's see who's going to make it into that first call out. Will we have a repeat winner here, or will we have somebody new, completely new?
And again, and I'm starting to wonder is, since that announcement of the changes of height and weights, do you think that's going to be rewarded here going into the Olympia? I'm curious.
The size going into
the Olympia? Yeah.
I mean, the next few months will kind of show.
Right.
You know, the next few months will really tell.
That announcement was this week.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. All right,
So
we got our first call out here.
So I can see John Charjo, Stephen Cow, Vitor Chavez, trying to see the numbers here. Here we go, 8. That is Juan Manuel Gochez. And I believe on the far right, we'll see his number at some point. But this is quite a strong lineup here, Sean. Wow. Anyone who sticks out?
Our previous 2 winners.
I think so far.
Our previous 2 winners definitely stand out.
Actually on the far right. On the far right. So here we go, Vitor as well.
Yep.
I think number 5 is that on the far right. Is that Victor Manuel Ramirez Chavez?
So.
Yeah, Victor Chavez. Because he looks like he has things dialed quite a bit.
Yeah, he might be a little bit too hard. Like if you look at him from the back, he's kind of getting that Christmas tree going on, and the other guys don't have that. He's got great shape, but he might actually be a little bit too hard.
Interestingly enough, we see in the middle Stephen Cow, Vitor, and Charjo.
Yep.
Now that could be your top 3, the way it's trending.
I'm curious to see if they switch.
Strange thing he's doing here with his arm.
So number
posing.
I would switch 3 and 9. That's what I would do. I feel like from the front, Steven is a little bit lacking in that shot.
Is, but again, it goes into that question: is Steven going to be the one who's rewarded this time next year at the 2024 DC Pro, right?
But he's bigger from the back, though. When you look at him from the back,
he's got that beautiful
more,
taper.
He's got more depth from the back.
Yeah. Now this is bodybuilding here, though, isn't it, Sean? I mean, incredible stuff. Yep. Here we go. Oh, man. Now look at that here, folks. What a move. I mean, and again, doesn't always indicate exactly how things are going to place. But John Sarmiento just made his way towards the middle-ish area of the stage.
I'm wondering, again, we're talking about the size and stuff like that, but I'm just wondering if that being a little smaller is actually hurting it.
It could be. And I think, and again, I have to say, I feel like I've seen Charjo a bit drier before. I've seen him leaner.
He's got a little bit of water on him.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
This isn't that signature Charjo look that I've seen before in years past. So we'll see if that kind of leaves the door open for everyone else. It looks like they're holding steady on Steven and Vitor in the middle.
If I had to guess, I put Vitor. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, Vitor. Yeah. Vitor's wheels are just insane, and you can name.
And again, he's posing straight on. That was something we really noticed from last year. Is that he is one of the only ones that poses straight on.
Yeah, very Ryan Terry-esque. You know what I mean? Really wanted to show off that kind of like that midsection.
And I would say too, last year he had like Hawaiian prints on his shorts, and we were like, we don't like the Hawaiian print. That's what we kept calling him, the Hawaiian print guy. So he fixed it.
Interesting enough, he must have watched. Yeah.
No, he fixed it. It looks much better.
It makes me wonder how many people know you just from your commentary now, Sean.
It's amazing how I'll go to shows and they're like, oh, I listen to you do this, do that. It's crazy.
I throw out my shorts because of you.
I know, for real.
Oh man.
No, in general, the feedback is always really positive. People are like, thank you for pointing out these things I didn't even notice. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to do here too. We're looking at it from an objective standpoint versus you're inside of this when you're a competitor.
Yep.
And we're coming at it from a completely different viewpoint. We see the things that you probably just don't even pay attention to.
Yeah, that's correct. Now here we go. This is our second call out here, folks. Raymond Akinlasotu, he's sitting there in the middle. Right next to him, to his right, that's Stevlon Dennison. Actually, Stevlon just moved to the middle. So Stevlon could be the one breaking into outside of this call out. We'll see.
So we're looking at basically at the bottom half of the top 10.
Yes.
But somebody here will be outside the top 10.
That's right.
We had 6 in that first call out.
That's right. And again, we have 16 athletes here, folks. 16 professional men's physique athletes. And I'm curious, on the far right, trying to see.
I don't see his
is that,
number.
it's one of those cases where the number is just hidden, just outside of it.
He's focusing in towards the
That was Darius Brooks. Darius actually had a good look to him a little bit.
16.
So here comes the third call out, the third and final. And again, folks, you have to call it out, but there is no shame in not breaking into the top 2 call outs at a show like this. I mean, clearly the pedigree is high, the competition level is high. It's just one of those things that you take these placings as they are, and you try to move forward. You try to look at the video just like any other athlete would. You look at the video, you look at the pictures, you use it as data. You try to get better next time. You try to get drier next time. You try to work on your posing, picking out a different suit, adding some more oil, taking away oil, whatever it is.
Is this just me, or is that those light blue shorts? Is he covered in tan? He's covered in tan. He must have sat in tan. Did you see that?
No, it's which athlete?
Is it number 11? Yeah, when he turns to the back.
Okay.
Like you can see it from our vantage point
goodness,
here.
yes, yeah.
This is the problem with wearing light colored anything, you guys.
Face back.
Look at he's covered in tan.
Oh goodness, yeah, and
Absolutely
actually,
covered in it.
yeah, we should probably someone.
He's sweating through his shorts.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Oh goodness, yeah. And the thing is, folks, this is also why it's important to call out is when you're at a show, make sure to bring extra towels.
Yeah.
Make sure to bring old clothing that you're okay with getting tan on, kind of thing. Is this stuff goes everywhere? It's incredibly hard to wash off. Baby oil is at a premium. So you need to make sure that whatever it is that you're touching, I always recommend to athletes wear gloves. Bring your little disposable gloves for your phone, for your food, for everything.
You can see he's sweating quite a bit on stage. So for whatever reason that's happening, but he's sweating through his shorts.
Three,
And
4,
I have girls come to me all the time
8,
wanting light colored suits,
12.
and I'm like, it's just not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. If he had on dark shorts, you wouldn't even see it.
Yeah. There's just certain colors that are safe. Now here comes.
This is our top 4.
This is definitely the top 4 here.
So this is the confirmation round. These are the guys that were in that top call out, but these are your
Face
top 4
the back.
guys.
So we're looking at Stephen Cow, Juan Gochez, John Sarmiento, and obviously the former champ Vitor Chavez. So this is actually going to be quite a battle because what I'm looking at here is a very apples and oranges battle here, Sean.
Yeah, they as good as they look, they don't look like each other.
Neither one of them look the same. Now the separator is obviously, to me, is going to come down to what is the classic look that we're looking for in men's physique. Now,
I always look for the full roundness, and to me, Vitor just has that.
Yeah, Vitor has that in spades.
To me, he's got this show.
It's 3D.
Yeah.
It's truly 3D.
As good as Steven looks, and as good as his shape is, he's lacking in his chest, and that just really stands out to me.
Especially standing next to a Vitor. I mean, like how full he is from front to back. There is 3D muscle, and folks, when we talk about 3D muscle, I mean, Vitor is really showing kind of what we mean by that is the muscle truly looks like it's trying to escape from the body, like it's really popping. And that comes from, one, being in shape.
Yeah, you can see his conditioning is really good. He's got the vascularity going, but it's not so overpowering because he's full.
Right,
and he's round.
Right.
You know, it's one thing to come in conditioned. It's another thing to fill that conditioning out.
Yeah. Because easily enough, I mean, typically, folks, if you know anything about peaking for a show, is you're going to look your flattest before you actually get back on, or before you get on stage. Once you start carbing up, whether it be a carb front load or a carb back load, whatever it is your protocol is you're going to essentially be flat as a pancake a few days out, and then you start filling out, and then you never want to get to a point where you what we call colloquially as spilling over. But because there's a fine line, you're always better off kind of doing a little bit less than doing a little bit too much. It's tough to kind of pull that back after it's gone too far. Now here comes our amateur athlete, Sean. We're opening up with our NPC
men's bodybuilding.
Men's bodybuilding.
Going right into it. This is our true novice.
Now this is John Kasser.
So what that means with true novice is it means that they've never stepped on stage before.
That's
so
right.
If you are a brand new competitor, I always recommend that you do the true novice division, because that is the only time, your first show is the only time you can do that.
Right.
So
you can still do novice, but you cannot do a true novice. This is your first and only time you get to do this. I actually like that they do the true novice.
Yes.
I think it's nice because it is very intimidating for your first time out there.
And one thing that people don't realize too is that novice is actually one of the most difficult divisions that you could potentially do, because the only restriction is that you could have been competing for 10 years, but if you've never won a show, then you can do novice, you know?
Yeah.
So true novice is where you're really going to get the new
the actual feel of it, yeah.
Correct.
So here comes Justin McClellan, also in the true novice heavyweight.
Yep.
Good separation on those quads there. And again, remember here, folks, the standard that we're going to be judging our amateur athletes is going to be much different than how we're kind of looking at our pro athletes, right, Sean? I mean, these are people still very much early in their bodybuilding careers, so you want to make sure that you know you're judging them according to kind of where they are in their career. So these are people who are just getting started, so we're looking at them through that lens. What do you see here, Sean?
Well, number one here on the left, John
taper.
Kasser. Yeah, I feel like he has actually a really good photo physique.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's going to cross over to classic.
Very good separation in his quads.
Got really good conditioning. You know, for bodybuilding, he needs more size, obviously, but I mean, in general, he's really well balanced from top to bottom. It's a small waistline, good conditioning.
Back double bicep.
Looks really good for a first-time competitor.
Definitely.
I'd like to see him in classic. I'm wondering if he's going to cross over.
Back lat spread. Side
What
tricep.
thoughts do you have here between these two?
Yeah, actually, I'd agree mostly. I actually think both of them have some fairly good separation in the quads. You know, you can see all three quad heads, which is usually a pretty tough thing to do in general. I mean, it just means that they really did their work on leg day. Absolutely. If I had to pick one over the other, I think John probably has this one. I feel like he's a little bit more complete.
He has more density and fullness.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what the judges think on this one, but. This is a fun little way to start the amateur session.
Now, what do you think about that tattoo that we got there on number 26 on Justin?
Now if anyone knows Sean and I is we have our thoughts on how you should have your tattoos and things. Is if you choose to have one and then you know you're going to enter in a bodybuilding show, just know that in some cases it is going to hold you back, depending on how involved the tattoo is, depending on how thick the tattoo is, depending on how dark it is.
Yes.
So you actually saw in a case there where Justin actually had quite the dark and very thick tattoo, and actually in a lot of ways it takes away from the physique. So it's just something where we're not saying don't ever get tattoos. We're never going to say that. It's more that just knowing that if you are going to compete, that you are kind of fighting an uphill battle, especially if you have a very, very thick kind of tattoo.
Especially when it's on a body part that you're going to judge that harshly on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, in that scenario, that particular tattoo is quite distracting to me. We just saw this guy was Austin.
Bunda, yeah.
Yeah, he's covered in tattoos